Hello student, in this session we are going to discuss about the basic introduction about SQL. So what it means SQL? SQL nothing but structured query language. So we will discuss what is SQL. SQL nothing but structured query language. So it is used to access and manipulate the databases. So what it means used to access and manipulate? Nothing but to access, to get the information from a database and to manipulate. So if you want to perform, edit, update or delete some record from a database, for these and all purpose we are going to use the language nothing but structured query language. So before discussing about in detail, so we should come to know how it is developed. So in a year 1970, so the Dr. Edgar F. Tedford of IBM is developed this particular relational model in a year 1970. He is an employee of IBM. So in a year 1974 he is developed structured query language. So in a 1978 the IBM started to work on the concept of this particular Edgar F. Tedford, the relational data model. So in a 1986 this particular concept got standard from ANSI. In a year 1987 it got the standard from ISO. So from 1987 it became a international standard to create a database, so and to manipulate the databases and all. So in the next slide, if you observe what and all we can do from a SQL language. So we can create a table, we can delete a table, we can store some data from into a table, we can retrieve the data from a table, we can update, so we can set some permission to that particular table. So permission nothing but, so one database or one table will be accessed from different number of users. So if you observe in one organization, there may be we have number of employees. So if you want to restrict some of the features or some of the actions from some of the user, so at that particular time some of the permissions or some of the permissions we have to grant for them. Similar way we can revoke that permission also from for that particular user. So these and all tasks we can do with the help of SQL. So if you want to do these and all tasks, the process of the SQL we can divide into different categories. First one is it contains query dispatcher, second one optimization engine, third one classic query engine, fourth one SQL query engine. So query dispatcher nothing but, so from where we are writing some set of code or some set of query, that one will be dispatched to the SQL optimization engine. From that one we are getting a different information. Suppose if you are creating a query or if you are creating a table, depending upon a query it will check whether the syntax is correct or not. So depending upon that, if it is your syntax is correct, it will create a table. So similar way if you are extracting or if you are accessing or if you are viewing some data, so depending upon the syntax, if you are written query in a correct syntax, it will display a data, or if you are writing a insert into command, if your syntax is correct, it will insert a record into a table. This one is the architecture as I explained in a previous concept. So SQL query, so we have to first at the beginning we are, if you observe in the first box, we are passing some query. So what it means? Similar like our create a table, so insert into command, update a command, drop table, delete from a table, some of the records if you want to truncate from a table. So all those queries are passed into the query language processor. Here it will check the syntaxes. So in a parser and optimizer it will check the syntaxes and all. So then if it is your syntax is correct and all, so it will pass to RDBMS engine. So from there it will connect to the database where actually the data is stored. So from that one, depending upon our query, it will extract the data, or if you are creating a table, in the sense some of the actions will be taken place. So using SQL in website, what and all we can do? So to build a website that shows the data from a database, you have to do some tasks. So in an RDBMS database program, like whether it may be a MS Access, SQL Server or MySQL, so in that particular time, in a web-based applications, we have to use a database. Next one, to use server-side scripting language like PHP and ASP. Suppose if you are using server-side applications or server-side programming, in that particular time also our SQL concept will come to use, nothing but relational database management concept will come to use. To use SQL to get the data from a table, you want to access some data from a table. Next one, similar like the data which are accessed from a table, we have to display into a user. So for that one we need HTML and cascading style sheet, nothing but CSS code we need to use. Then we can display into a user. Then we are discussing about RDBMS. What it means? What the full form of RDBMS? So R stands for relational, D stands for database, M stands for management, S stands for system. So here we have different types of relational database management system applications we have, like SQL, MySQL Server, IBM DB2, Oracle and Microsoft Access. So for all those things the RDBMS is the basic one. So then it is called as relational database management system because it is based on the relational data model which is developed in the 1970 by E.F. Codd. So E.F. Codd, which concept is developed in that particular year. So depending upon that particular topic, so all different types of database applications are came to use. So how it works? So if we refer relational database model, so in this particular time the data will be represented as a tuple in a relational database management system. Tuple nothing but rows in a relational database model in a table. So relational database is most commonly used database. It contains a number of tables and each table contains its own primary key. So relational database nothing but database is a collection of different tables. So in that particular database it may contain any number of tables. So if you consider any one particular college database, in that particular time it may contains the tables like faculty, teaching faculty, non-teaching faculty, students, marks, so and so with the different names it may contain different tables. So in each and every table if you want to maintain some records uniquely nothing but to avoid some redundancy from a database, in that particular time we have to use a primary key concept. So in our next coming session and all in detail we will discuss what the usage of primary key. So due to the collection of organized set of tables and data in a form of rows and columns, so we can access the data in easy manner. So this one is the main advantages of relational database model. So because we are maintaining entire data in a concept of table, rows and fields. So here we have the one example of student database. Here we have ID, name and name, age and course. These are the column names, nothing but fields. So next one, here we have 5 number of rows, that one nothing but tuple. So in a form of we are representing a table in a form of rows and columns. So because it contains we can call it as a relational database model. So we will discuss what it means field. So field is a smaller entity in a table. It contains specific information about every record in a table. So if you observe our previous record here, ID, name, age and course are the different fields. Then what it means tuple? So tuple nothing but a row in a record. A row in a record nothing but entire row will represent one entity in a student table. One entity nothing but entire detail of one particular student. So if you have observed our previous example of student, so here the name, roll number nothing but 1, name nothing but Ajit, age nothing but 24, then class nothing but B.Tech. So entire these details we can consider it as a entity. So this one in a RDBMS concept we can refer it as a tuple. So column nothing but, if you observe name, so entire that particular column will give some of the details to related to that particular column. A column is a vertical entity in a table which contains all the information associated with the specific field. Here field nothing but name, so the details in that particular column, all the details are related to that particular field nothing but name. So this one is about details about SQL and relational database management system. So in this session we have discussed what history of SQL and how we can use, and what the concept of relational database management system, then which and all concept we can get in a RDBMS nothing but table, tuple, row and column. So this one is about introduction about SQL nothing but structured query language. So in a next session we will discuss how we can create a table with the help of create command. Thank you.